Hello everyone, myself Deepak Gupta, and this session is regarding a basic overview of negotiable instruments. So we in India are covering this negotiable instruments through the Negotiable Instruments Act and Negotiable Instruments Act 1881. So in this session, we will only be discussing the basic outlines and the basic concepts of this negotiable instrument. That actually what negotiable instruments are, what they do, how they help you. So this has to go with the basic concept. First of all, we have to understand what is barter system because in earlier humanity we were involved in barter system. Then we moved on to the currency system. This currency system was earlier metals like coins. Then we moved on to paper currency. Then we developed plastic currency like cards. Then we moved on to e-currency like Paytms. And now we are moving on to the latest platform that is cryptocurrency. Though there are doubts that in an economy like India, whether we will be having this cryptocurrency or not. Now, that's a debatable issue whether we should have it or not, but that's not my prerogative here. And in addition to this, we have always been using this negotiable concept of this word negotiable instruments. There can be so many, but under the broad purview of the act as mentioned above, they will be basically primarily three kinds. One should be known as promissory note, then other can be bills of exchange, and third can be check. As a layman, what I can say, then if we talk about India, so we have our currency rupee. So this rupee is actually what? It is a kind of assurance or promise from RBI on behalf of government to give gold or some other commodity as you like for the denomination. Denomination means जिस अमाउंट की करेंसी है. अगर 100 रुपए का नोट है, 500 रुपए का नोट है, 2000 रुपए का नोट है, तो जिस डिनोमिनेशन की रुपी है उस डिनोमिनेशन की कोई भी कमोडिटी प्राइमरली गोल्ड एक्सेप्टेबल है, वो गवर्नमेंट आपको एश्योर कर रही है. तो व्हाट इज इट इट वाज लाइक अर्लियर दैट इफ आई मिस्टर एक्स है, एक मिस्टर वाई है, ये अपने लिए व्हीट क्रिएट कर रहा है और ये अपने लिए राइस क्रिएट कर रहा है. अब इसके पास राइस थोड़ा ज्यादा था, इसके पास व्हीट थोड़ा ज्यादा था, तो व्हाट दे डिड, अपनी जरूरत के हिसाब से वाई ने अपना व्हीट रख लिया, एक्स ने अपनी जरूरत के हिसाब से राइस रख लिया, और इसने अपना एक्स्ट्रा राइस इसको देकर एक्स्ट्रा व्हीट इसका वापस ले लिया. तो हुआ क्या कि इसके पास राइस भी हो गया और एक्स्ट्रा राइस के बदले इसको व्हीट मिल गया, और इसके पास अपना व्हीट तो था ही था, लेकिन एक्स्ट्रा व्हीट के बदले इसको राइस मिल गया. तो आपने अपनी म्यूचुअल नीड्स को एक्सचेंज कर लिया एंड दैट वाज नोन एज बार्टर. That is mutual exchange of the needs. And this barter extended to different kind of people with different kind of needs. For example, if Mr. Z entered and he says that I have eggs, Now both X and Y can go to the Z, and he can get wheat, he can get rice, he will have his eggs, and both Y and X, in addition to rice and wheat, they will also get the eggs. So all three will be happy. So similarly, this barter, which started with two people and two commodities, now extended to three people and three commodities, and it keep on extended like that. But the problem came that if we have a person A and he has apple, and this Z wants apple, but A says, I will not want eggs in return because I am not an vegetarian, I am a vegetarian. So what is happening? What Z has, A does not want. And what A has, Z is required or Z wants that. But the problem is that there has to be a mutual consent, mutual need to satisfy or to successfully carry on the barter. And if somehow their mutual needs don't match, then this barter system flops. So as people grew, as their needs grew, this barter system seems to fail. So what was thought that there has to be a common mechanism. There has to be a common exchange system. And that's where the concept of currency. So this currency is actually a kind of negotiable instrument. So this word negotiable actually denotes transferable. And I should make it further clear, it should be freely transferable. So freely denotes anybody can give to anybody. So the face of the person is not important. This negotiability means transferability, free transferability, irrespective of the identity of the transferer or transferee. Transferer मतलब जिसने ट्रांसफर किया, transferee का मतलब जिसने ट्रांसफर लिया. And what was important that the ruler of the country came into existence. In old times, that was the king. So he created any metal, put his image on the metal, and we use the word coin. And to differentiate for the value, हमने metals की classification कर दी that we can have gold coins, silver coins, brass coins, copper coins, whatever. And because of the value of the metal, these coins have different values. And assurance was with the king. And king has the photo on the metal to justify that they are original. So what happened that every one of these XYZ which have these commodities, they in a way sold these commodities to the king and king gave them the coins. So if X has the rice and for example he has 100 kg of rice but he needs 40 kg of the rice for his personal and family consumption, then he sold the extra 60 kg to the king and got the equivalent number of coins. And same with the Y and same with the Z. Now each one of them has the requisite commodity of its and the extra coins. Those extra coins gave them a free transferability. Now, if X wants eggs, X wants wheat, X wants apple, then he will go to those and give him the coin and get the commodity. So, what happened? That currency, that coin created a negotiable instrument, transferable instrument. Anybody who has the coin will get anything because it has been assured by the king that whatever is the value of that currency or coin, you will get the goods, whatever you want. Now, this metal coin, as we grew, and we came into more educated society, surely, each government created a central bank. In India, this central bank is RBI, which controls the currency, and they issued the country's currency. And for example, in India, we have this rupee, in US, we have the dollar, and so on. So, for normal purposes, what happened? Coin gave way to rupee in India. The same thing is happening. Now, if a farmer grows a crop, then he keeps the requisite crop with himself, and extra crop is sold to the government, and he gets the rupee. Now, with this rupee, he can buy anything that he wants. So, rupee is a kind of negotiable instrument. Now, what promissory note or the bill of exchange or this check implied that, for example, this person, farmer, he has this 1,000 kg of crop, say wheat. It is valued at rupees, say 40 per kg. So the value of his crop is 40,000 rupees. Now, this I am showing that this is how much he will have, yeah, he is having available for sale. So basically, if he sells his 1,000 kg of wheat, then he can get 40,000 rupees. But the point is, he has sold this crop, say to a government representative, but he will receive the payment after 1 month because it will take time. Now, till this 1 month, he don't have any cash. Though he knew that he will get these 40,000 rupees, but at the moment he doesn't have this amount. Now, what is happening that he wants to buy something for say rupees 10,000 rupees. What the problem with him? That he has the capacity to pay 10,000 rupees because he has this 40,000 coming to him. But at the moment he lacks cash because they will be coming in the future. So this should not this should not debar him to purchase what he wants. So what he can do that he can purchase these goods. For example, this 10,000 he wants to buy a scooter, old scooter. So what one thing is that this person can sell on credit. So if this example moves on, then this farmer and this person, Mr. Rakesh. Now this Rakesh has this old scooter. So what is happening here? Rakesh is giving this farmer his scooter, and this farmer has to pay 10,000 cash. But because he don't have the cash, because he is not having the cash, so what is happening? That he is buying this scooter on credit. Now this credit creates a sense of risk for seller. That is Rakesh. Either Rakesh takes this risk, or the another option is that this farmer gives a written statement, a written promise to Rakesh that I promise to give rupees 10,000 to Rakesh on, yeah, on a specific date as mentioned, or 15 days आफ्टर डेट, कि आज के 15 दिन के बाद मैं इसको पे कर दूंगा, और वो उसके ऊपर आज की डेट डाल देता है, 9 दिसंबर 2021, और यहाँ पे खड़े होकर वो अपने सिग्नेचर कर देता है, और ये कागज एक छोटा सा बनाकर वो राकेश को दे देता है, गिव दिस पेपर टू राकेश. नाउ व्हाट इज हैपनिंग? Rakesh has this paper. So if somehow in future farmer backs out from payment, then this Rakesh can go to the court and show that as a proof that because I have given this farmer a scooter and he has given me a written statement that it's a promise that he will give me 10,000 rupees, then Rakesh has a substantial claim. So basically, Rakesh has an evidence of payment that he has to pay. So what this paper is doing, that it is giving a sense of security to Rakesh. Secondly, if Rakesh got this money 10,000 rupees now, then he can again go and again buy something. So if Rakesh has this money of 10,000 rupees, then he can go further and buy. But if he doesn't get this money from farmer, then it will hamper his purchasing power. So if we make this paper, or if we allow this paper, that farmer has to pay not just to Rakesh. So Rakesh is not important. Anyone who holds this paper, farmer will be liable to pay this amount to that person. So if we ignore Rakesh and if we make important this paper, and farmer must be liable not to Rakesh but to anyone who has this paper, then this will create liquidity for Rakesh. So now if Rakesh buys from Suresh, and Suresh will give him the goods, and in return this paper is being given by the Rakesh to Suresh. Now, liability of the farmer, which was earlier towards Rakesh, has now been shifted to Suresh. So, what is happening here? This was the liability first from farmer to Rakesh, which has now been shifted to Suresh, and it can go on further to anyone in the future. So, what is happening that this is freely transferable, and that is the same which has been happening with the currency. So, if we treat this paper at par with the currency, then will have the same characteristic, that it will have evidential value in the court of law, so it will give us security. So in the case of currency, the security was because the promise was given, a promise was made by the government. And in this case, the security is here because it will have evidential value in the court of law. Secondly, the currency was easily transferable, anyone can give to anybody, and who has the currency can buy anything. On the same lines, whosoever holds this paper is having a right to get the money from that original person who has signed on this instrument, that in this case, that is the person farmer. So it will have all those characteristics like a currency, and only difference being that in the case of currency, the liability was by the government through RBI. And in this case, the liability is from anyone who is not a government authority, like any other person like you and me. So when the liability to pay is through the RBI, then we use the word currency. And when the liability is by any other person, then we use the word negotiable instrument. Both are by the character same, but the only difference is that currency is being issued by the RBI on behalf of the government, and negotiable instruments are issued by any person on his personal behalf, but he is liable to pay to any person who will hold that currency. So what is happening, that this paper which I just created, we normally call this paper as the promissory note because it has a promise. So basically, promissory note was what? Promissory note is a negotiable instrument. It means it is freely transferable. It gives, it contains a promise by the payer. Who's the payer? Who is making the instrument? So we can also use the word maker. And the promise is unconditional. He will have to pay irrespective of the fact whether the goods which he has received are good or not. So before he writes his instrument, he has to understand that he will have to pay once he has signed the instrument. And this promise is made to the recipient. And this recipient is what you call payee. And this payee has the right to transfer this promissory note to anyone. So this allows a transferability. So farmer, that is a person, maker, cannot maker cannot object to its transferability. And third most important thing, that when you get a note, this note is yours. करेंसी अगर आपकी जेब में है तो आपकी है, nobody can say कि करेंसी मेरी है। अगर किसी ने करेंसी का अपना नाम भी लिख दिया ना, तब भी जिसके पास करेंसी का पोजेशन है उसी की मानी जाती है। On the same lines, until unless somebody can prove that it is stolen. On the same lines, जिसके पास इस promissory note का, इस negotiable instrument का possession होगा, he will be deemed to be the owner of that promissory note or say negotiable instrument. That is, until unless somebody proves that it is stolen, he will have a perfect title to this. He will have a perfect title to this. So, what the point is, that each negotiable instrument, in this example, we have focused on promissory note. In the coming demo sessions, we will focus on bill of exchange and check, which are essentially the same by the character. There will be only minor differences. For example, when I started with the rupee, I said liabilities by the RBI. When I shifted to the promissory note, then I said the liabilities by and to a normal person. We have to understand that Indian rupee is also a kind of promissory note. The only thing is that in a rupee, the promise is made by the governor of the RBI, and in a normal promissory note, the promise is made by Mr. X or Mr. Y and what's not. So all negotiable instruments will have three characteristics. The most important one, which has I have been stressing so much, is easy transferability. Second thing is that the person who holds the instrument, we use the word holder. Holder means who has the instrument, will always have a good title. Good title means he is always presumed to own the instrument. Means it is presumed that he has taken the instrument from its his previous holder by giving him the goods as required. And most importantly, if somebody is getting the instrument, जैसे यहाँ पर अगर राकेश ने फार्मर से प्रोमिसरी नोट लिया, तो ऑब्वियस सी बात है कि राकेश ने फार्मर को कुछ ना कुछ दिया होगा। अगर राकेश ने सुरेश से कुछ सामान लिया तभी तो प्रोमिसरी नोट ट्रांसफर किया होगा। तो अगर एक पर्सन के पास नेगोशिएबल इंस्ट्रूमेंट है, इट मींस उसने उसके इक्विवेलेंट गुड्स अपने प्रीवियस ईयर पर्सन को ट्रांसफर किए हुए हैं। तो वी ऑलवेज से दैट द कंसिडरेशन, that is, the goods for which you have received the promissory note has already been paid. So the consideration is presumed that you have always paid for it. And all these three things make a negotiable instrument at par with the currency. So what is actually happening, that because of the short-sightedness of barter system, we moved on to the currency. But sometimes it can happen that you are having the strength but you don't have the cash at the moment, means you can pay but at the moment you don't have that cash. So what you want, that you want to buy on credit because you will pay in future, but that person from whom you are buying wants a return assurance from you that you will pay. Firstly, it assures that person that if you back out, then he can show to the court that you are liable to pay. Secondly, if we get this paper, then it will not hamper his liquidity because he can use this paper to buy for his personal needs. तो if A ने B से परचेज किया, तो A ने B को promissory note दिया या A ने B को नेगोशिएबल इंस्ट्रूमेंट दिया, अब बी का हैंड हैम्पर नहीं हुआ, बी की लिक्विडिटी हैम्पर नहीं हुई। अगर बी ने सी से बाय किया तो वो सेम नेगोशिएबल इंस्ट्रूमेंट सी के पास चला गया, सिमिलरली सी से डी के पास चला गया, ई के पास चला गया, इट कैन गो ऑन एंड ऑन एंड ऑन एंड ऑन। So if somehow it reaches Z, so earlier the liability was from A to B, and now the liability or the right to receive the payment lies with Z. So A has to pay to the Z because who holds the instrument will always be having the right to receive the payment. So A has to see the paper who holds the possession, not the face or the name of the person. Irrespective of the fact कि उस कागज पे नाम एक्स का लिखा था, वाई का लिखा था, कि ए का लिखा था, जिसके हाथ में पेपर है उसको पैसे मिल जाएंगे। तो इससे ट्रांसफरेबिलिटी इजी हो गई, एंड nobody has to be worried about that how you get it, because if I have the instrument, it means I have given the goods worth for it. I am taking it for a right. I have given the goods for it, so I have the right to receive the money. So if I hold the instrument, then I am safe. If I have this paper, it means it is presumed that I have paid for the goods. It is presumed that I will receive the payment, and the person who has originally signed the instrument will always be liable to pay. So normally, these negotiable instruments are deemed as a sort of business currency, which normally people use in business. That is why negotiable instruments are in a way kind of replacement for the currency in business. And because they can be created in different ways, so one of the most used ways, or yeah, I should say one of the most simplest ways, is promissory note. So this is one of the most simplest. One of the most used is bill of exchange, and third one is also the most used, and it is a kind of check only. So this, sorry, it is a kind of bill of exchange only. The check is nothing but a special kind of bill of exchange. So in the next demo session, we will move on with bill of exchange and check. But all these three, all these three will have these three characteristics. So are these are the three key characteristics. These are the three key characteristics that create a negotiable instrument. And one last thing to finish this demo session, that when I created this promissory note, I used the word I promised to pay 10,000 to Rakesh. What I can do, instead of I can write the name here, or instead of writing the name, I can also use the word bearer. So I may not write the word, or I may not write the name of any person on this instrument. I can just write the word bearer. So what is actually happening, that when I create this negotiable instrument, either I write the name of one pay, or just write, I should say, I just write the word bearer and not name, not any name. So if I does not write any name, then we say they are bearer negotiable instruments. And if I write the name of any one person, then we say these are order negotiable instruments. So we can say that these negotiable instruments are either order instruments and bearer instruments. So we should summarize that negotiable instruments are not currency, but they are a replacement of currency, but they work in business like a currency and helps in removing the problem of liquidity and assure a free movement of goods among the businesses. They have three characteristics. There's three key characteristics. They are of three, they are three kinds, and they are, that is, promissory note, bill of exchange, and check. And they are primarily order instrument or bearer instrument. So with this, I believe that this should be worth this first demo session, and we are, I believe, able to understand primarily what is negotiable instrument, And promissory note is just one of the example which we have discussed. In this next demo session, we will be discussing in detail what is promissory note, what is bill of exchange, and what is check. Thank you very much. This is Deepak Gupta signing off.